Welcome back. We are here for another episode with the fabulous Pamela.
Woohoo.
My voice is still a little off, guys, so you're going to have to bear with me. I'm hoping that allergy season is coming to an end.
Right. The worst of it. You're getting to the end. The pollen's
It's true.
almost done.
It annoys me even hearing my own voice.
It sounds great. It's like this raspy
I try to clear it and it works for a minute. Eden will always go, Mom, like that's, oof, you're really annoying right now. Can you like not talk? And I'm like, wow.
Thanks. I birthed you, but that's
right.
fine.
That's right.
My voice is annoying to you.
Oh, here we are. We're back.
We are back. Yes.
Thank you guys for watching. We're loving doing these episodes.
Yeah.
Like we're really enjoying it. And I think, we love having guests on and just hearing everyone's stories. And we love the time it's just you and I just chit-chatting and having coffee with us. So here we are today.
Yeah. And we love hearing the feedback from everyone. It's so helpful to know what topics to talk about on the podcast because so many people write to us and then we're like, oh yeah, that's such a great idea. We should totally talk about that on the next episode.
Yeah. So if you have any ideas, feel free to write us. Also, apparently saying write us is very old school. It makes us look old. Like, what are we writing a letter? Everyone's like text, DM. So apparently I'm not that cool anymore.
Okay. We have
to change our lingo.
We have to get
with write us. It's like text us or DM us.
DM us.
Because maybe your idea will spark something in us and we'll be able to have a conversation.
Yeah. And I thought one of the it's actually been a bit of a common theme we've heard, and we understand it's tricky where we always say that we're pro-marriage as two people who are divorced, but we are pro-marriage and we do agree that there are times when marriages aren't healthy and you shouldn't be married. Yeah. So that's been, I think, some of the feedback where people are like, yeah, but this or that. And I hope people understand we're not saying stay married no matter what and endure anything. We are not saying that at all.
Yeah.
So the topic we were thinking about talking about today is whether it would apply to you or if you think you're too old and beyond this, it would help you to speak to other people that are younger, but about marrying, not the focus of a relationship being on marriage always as the end goal, but slowing it down and taking a few steps back and teaching young people, even like our own teenage kids, right? Like we have teenagers, teaching them what things to look for and to value and focus on in a marriage or in a relationship before you ever think about marriage. Yes. Because probably 9 times out of 10, you'll never even get to the marriage thought because you'll realize for whatever reason, a relationship isn't the right relationship for you.
That's right. And I think just like learning, that in the church world, I would say, like especially like the evangelical, like Christian church world, because I think church could mean anything to a lot of people. So more to clarify that is like we push like date for marriage, right? Which yes, like that would be the design. You don't just want to like go through like 10, 15, 20 men or women just to like have your fun so date with the intention of marriage, but what does that look like? Right? Like, because I don't want, back in one of the episodes I said, I want to get married when I'm 19, have my first kid when I'm 20. And like, that was like, mind you, that was probably just put inside of me. Like it was just something that was like in me from the time I was born. No one could have convinced me otherwise.
Yeah, totally.
However, my mom would probably say that too. She'd be like, there was no convincing you otherwise. You're a stubborn little thing. But how do we teach our kids, how do we teach young people to spot red flags in relationships or to not just want to, do it just to rush into marriage?
Right. Totally. Yeah. And I think that's such an important message, especially if you're a teen mom or a young adult mom. I know even with my kids trying to have those conversations now about what does a healthy relationship look like, what does a partner who is healthy look like whether it's male or female, and even like what are things that you see that aren't healthy? Because I think having the conversation before you're in a relationship and you're emotionally involved, you can rationalize it way better. Once you're in a relationship with somebody or a teenager or a young adult it's so much harder to pull them aside and be like, hey, these are some things I see. Not that you shouldn't do that, but it's harder. But if you can have the conversations even before people in a relationship, it's less personalized. Like they don't take it as a personal slam against the person that they're with, Because we all know people like that who you can see the red flags and you try and it's like they just don't want to hear it. And you're like, oh, yeah.
But. And even that conversation of like, funny enough that we did talk about this in previous episodes, just about like dating, like if you are a Christian, like wanting your child to date a Christian, like, or whatever, even, you know, on the next episode of Dating with Leah and finding Pam a spouse.
Oh, no. It's one dream that's never going to be fulfilled.
Guys, it's coming. The dating website, we're going to do a spinoff. It's coming. The spinoff is coming. I am a matchmaker and it's going to happen.
Do you know how many people sadly have written in and being like, yes, they're on yours. I'm like, we want that content. We want to see that episode. I'm like,
Pam, do you want to go viral or don't you?
I think.
Do you want to literally lay down your life for the sake of this podcast so that we can go viral and have you go on some dates?
I want you to have your dating show. I just don't want to be participating in it.
No, but I think people are invested for you. They're invested. They want Team Pam. Guys, we're going to do a spinoff. It will be coming. Don't worry. Anyway.
Don't encourage her. Please.
Keep encouraging
Don't
me.
DM and encourage her, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
But all that to say, like, we want them to date a Christian.
Right.
But again, it's coming back to like those characteristics. Like just being a Christian isn't enough.
Yeah.
However, also teaching our kids from a young age that like, but I don't want you necessarily dating somebody that's not.
Yeah. Right. Well, and this is like your whole life. Like I think the thing was, because I'll be honest, if I look back when I got engaged, so I didn't know that Dan was going to propose. We hadn't even been dating that long. We'd never talked about marriage. So I was shocked and stunned, which can be fun if you're, but then it was just like, I hadn't even actually thought about it really, to be honest. So I was just like,
you were just dating? Like
we had been dating and we never talked about marriage. So I just hadn't even really gone there in my mind. But then when he's like on one knee and then he's like, and in that moment, I do feel like, well, I do love him. And at that time I was like, well, there was no reason to say no. So you don't say no.
Right.
And then it's like, everyone's so excited for you. There's like, and they're just talking about the wedding. And I remember feeling inside, like when I look back, some reservations of just feeling maybe like I wasn't ready. But then people say things like, oh, it's normal to have cold feet, which I don't even know if I actually agree with that.
Right.
And I just think like, I wish either I myself or somebody would have said other important questions to me, like, how are you feeling about that?
Right.
Do you feel ready to get married?
Yeah.
You know, did you think this through? Did you want to get married to him? Because if there had been that conversation, I would have been like, well, no, I never thought of this. I don't know. Like, you know, and it's easy to look back now. Maybe I wouldn't have responded well to it in the moment. I don't know.
Right.
But instead it was like everyone just rushed ahead and was like, the wedding. And so then it was hard. Like I felt like, oh, I should be excited too. And I was excited to a point. But yeah, looking back, I'm like, oh man, I want to make sure that with my own kids and other friends' kids who I love, like that you just ask some of those more important questions, right?
Yeah. And it's true. Like I think, you know, we often I think young Christians, I would say, often get married to have sex.
Yeah.
Like I think.
Right, because there's so much
emphasis on like no sex before marriage. And so I think that is why a lot of Christians get married young. That's more how I should word it.
Yeah, that's probably true.
And so it's having the conversations with like around like the why and why not and not, oh, we're not doing this because it's bad or wrong or whatever, because it's so much more than that.
Yeah. But
I remember like even on my wedding day, I just got nervous. Like, what am I willing to say here?
Say it all. We can always edit it out.
Oh my gosh. On my wedding day, because, you know, my ex and I did have sex before we were married. Woo! There you go, guys.
So that was a did or a didn't?
Did.
Okay, did. Okay.
No.
Okay, you did.
Okay. You really wanted me to say that twice, right?
Just wanted to clarify.
I was already like, what should I say? And you just were like, sorry. Can you just say it a little louder for the people in the back?
I know. We're just going to ask those hard questions starting right now.
Right. So, no, we did. And, you know, it was a thing. Like our church kind of found out. So
then did you almost feel the pressure to like make it right then? Or like make an honest woman out of her? You know, people say that?
I didn't. I didn't. But you know, like, the church kind of found out that we were helping with at the time. And I remember both of us were actually like in Bible college as well. And so we were asked to take a semester off. Okay. Yeah. So we were asked to like take a semester off and you know, if you're non-Christian and you're watching this, you're going to be like, what in the actual world is happening here? But it's just kind of like what we grew up in. So on my wedding day, my mom had known. And so she had said to me, like, you know, you don't need to marry him just because you had sex with him. Like literally minutes before I walked down the aisle.
Wow. So maybe she was feeling like worried that
She
you were under that pressure?
Been, but like it wasn't, truthfully, it wasn't even a thought in my mind. Like I was like, no, I love him. Like whatever. But again, I'm stubborn. Like even if there's pride and stubbornness. So even if I would have felt that, I don't know if I would have even let on to that I knew that. You know what I mean?
So do you feel like, okay, this is maybe getting too personal, but don't ask. So you guys have sex, it's found out, you're disciplined. So then did that make it feel like, okay, because now we've already crossed that bridge, maybe we want to continue in our relationship that way, so we better quickly get married so that it's okay and we have permission to do that. Is that maybe, like, did it kind of expedite you toward marriage quicker than maybe you would have if that wasn't a factor?
I want to say that maybe we were already engaged. I don't know. To be honest, I don't even know how to answer that because I don't think that played the part.
Okay.
Like I knew I wanted to marry him regardless.
Yeah.
And I think that's why in my mind I chose to make certain what's the word I'm looking for here?
Because like in your heart, you're like, I'm going to marry him.
I'm going to marry him anyway.
It's not like I'm just randomly going out and sleeping with everyone on the street.
Yeah.
Like it felt more, I get it. Because I've heard people say that. It's like, well, if I know I'm going to marry him anyways.
Right.
Like
which
that's
is not the
as
right thing to
bad
do.
As, right. No,
it's not. Definitely not.
Yeah.
And, you know, if I can encourage any young people, it would be like, that's not
the
way to go about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think like in the church world, like how do we, or where do we go from like teaching what we believe is right, which I would say is like, you know, saving yourself for marriage because it's a beautiful thing in the act of marriage, but almost pushing a little bit against purity culture to be like, what are we telling our kids?
Right.
Like just that, oh, it's bad.
Right.
Oh, no, you can't be doing this. Like, and then they date. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's interesting too, because I know somebody, I have a friend who was also involved in the church world, like a church leader, I guess you'd call it. And there was a situation where there was a young couple that that was in our circle. They, I'm trying to think of how this all came out. Yeah, so they had slept together before they were married. I can't remember if they were engaged or not. I don't think they were. I think they were just dating. And then his position was kind of like, well, yeah, now he's got to marry her to like, almost like make it right or like make, and I was like.
And I have heard that in the church world.
But I'm just like, that's so interesting. So him and I had a debate because I was like, because also we could see like this guy was a bit controlling, manipulative. We didn't think he was a good guy in general. Definitely not good for her because she was more passive.
Right.
And so we kind of had a debate. And my position was like, whoa, okay, like if you think that's a mistake, let's just take one thing at a time. Yeah. Why would we ask, especially her, to make another mistake in marrying him to make it right? It's not, a marriage is not like an eraser that erases. Like I just was like,
it's more like a permanent marker.
Well, and because I said that to him, like, don't you just think that if you do that in a year from now or sooner, they're going to be coming back to us and she's going to be wanting to leave him. Maybe they have a child now. Like, I just think this is making a bigger mess. And we were kind of debating on it where his stance was like, no, they made this choice. They're already now in covenant with each other. They had this like sexual encounter. So they're committed to each other. They need to make it work now.
Right.
I didn't specifically agree, but I don't know. What do you think about that?
I mean, yeah, no, I definitely don't agree with that. Because you've made that decision, I don't think then you go on to make other poor decisions, right? Like there is forgiveness, there is grace, there's all those things, but it's like, how can we like change or how can we get to the root issue of what made us make that decision?
Right.
That's more what I care about.
Yeah.
Like I want to get to the sole reason of like why you chose to do that or why you chose to like give yourself in that way. And this is like foreign language to people that are watching this that like don't grow up in the church world that just do and can like sleep with people and not kind of be in their minds. You know what I'm saying? But for a lot of our viewers, they are Christian people. And so, I don't know, but I'm just like, don't make one mistake to make the next. Like,
well, and I feel like isn't the point too of like following the Bible to honor God, right? To do what we feel like God is saying, like, this is what's best for you. So if you do something that you feel like maybe outside of that, like, or is a mistake or whatever you want to call it, like having sex outside of marriage, then especially if you know that the person, like in this case, if we know this guy's like sort of abusive and whatever, is that honoring to God to push her into a marriage with him? Just you know what I'm saying? Like, it's such a slippery slope. And I get that there's arguments on both ends, but I just think it would be easier to be pro-marriage, and you would have to deal with less divorce and fallout from that if we didn't push young people into marriage for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Whether it's that you had sex with them, or whether it's that, you know, whatever you think, a big thing is, God's calling them to this person or into this certain position in the church, or there's all these dysfunctional reasons why in churches we actually encourage people to get married that probably have no business. Get married young, and they have no business getting married.
And your brain is literally not fully developed until you're 25. I will keep saying it over and over.
Yeah.
Like, I had my first kid at 24, and then I'm married and having a baby. Like, that's wild. Yet we push it in the church world. But I'm like, why don't we just like encourage friendships?
Yeah.
And be like, hang out with this person. Yeah. Get to know this person.
And look for like character and the person's integrity before you ever even think about marriage.
Yeah.
And then if it's like 10 out of 10 and all these things, and then you're like, maybe this is actually someone I would marry, that makes more sense. But
well, and if you're fighting, I would say this too. If you're fighting often and you're just dating and or engaged, but like especially just dating, you have no business getting married. Yeah. Like, I'm like, if you're fighting that much in the dating, it's if it's that hard, it's not meant to be that hard. Yes, marriage is hard. Yeah. Marriage is hard. Yeah. But
if you can't even get along without
when you're
the
dating, and then
marriage,
and I would say like surround yourself with couples that are older that you can almost look up to. And it does not mean they have a perfect marriage. No. Because also don't surround yourself with people that you think have a perfect marriage. Yeah. Because that just doesn't exist. There's no perfect marriage. Yeah.
But there's healthy marriages.
There's healthy marriages.
There's like healthy disagreements, healthy like fights. There's healthy ways to, and then there's unhealthy. So.
Absolutely. And I think honestly, when you surround yourself with those people, like, I love when I can sit across from another couple that is vulnerable enough to go, yeah, we fight too. Oh yeah, like we got in a massive fight, or
and this is what it looked like, and this is what I said, or this is what he said, and just make it really real. Not
100%. And especially like, you know, talk about like divorce rates and remarriage. Like again, statistics just keep going up. Yeah. Right. So like second marriages, and especially if they're birthed out of like an affair or cheating or betrayal or anything like that, I feel like that second marriage, if you are the spouse that cheated, like that second marriage, I mean, I feel like, oof, like there is grace, obviously, for it, but like you're starting off on a rocky road. Yeah. If you had the affair and married that person, you're already starting off on a rocky road. Yeah. And so I can't even imagine what that marriage looks like.
Well, I always think this too, and again, like this really, truly no judgment. I know people, there's all kinds of decisions people make, but sitting in the spot that we've both sat in, like I always think how sad it must be. Like if you broke up a marriage from an affair, like the two of you cheated, you caused a marriage and family to break up, but then like you feel like you won that person, like, well, they chose me, and then you two get married. There must always be in the back of your mind this worry that it could happen to me, because at least when you get married and you both have not cheated and you've been faithful, you can almost have this bliss of like, oh, he would never cheat on me. Right. I would never cheat on him. You get to live in that like bliss of that. Yeah. But when you've already cheated together, you would always have that in the back of your mind that, oh, well, they cheat. I know I don't have the luxury of thinking they would never cheat. I know they're a cheater. Right. I know they would because they cheated with me. Right. So what if they cheat on me? Like I always wonder how you live under that stress of knowing that if they get frustrated with you or bored with you.
Well, and it goes back to like define define cheating. What is cheating, right? I've listened to multiple podcasts on this.
Yeah.
And whether in the secular world or the Christian world.
Yeah.
You know, I have a friend going through something right now, and like, it's just like define, like, to me, it's anything inappropriate. Like,
right. Anything you'd have to hide from your spouse.
It's not just sex. Like, that is where the world that we live in is so messed up. But I would even say, no, I would even say it's gotten better, like, even in like the like celebrity world. Like, that even they would consider an emotional affair an affair. Oh, totally. They would consider, it's not just sex anymore. It's like, no, like, if you are talking to another person and not your spouse continually through text message. Yeah.
And in a flirtatious or romantic way, or making promises or expressing your feelings. Yeah. Like, you could never touch them. And that's still wrong.
And I literally have a friend that, you know, the husband was texting this girl and telling her he loved her and all the things, but he's like, oh, I didn't cheat. Oh wow! No, I didn't cheat. I was just in a bad place at a bad time, and so, but I like, we made some bad decisions, but then he went on to marry her, like.
Yeah, no.
I'm sorry.
That's not.
Like, no. Like, you don't tell somebody you love somebody.
Well, you can't kind of cheat.
Well, you're still married.
That's the thing. You can't kind of cheat. It's just like, you're faithful in a monogamous relationship or you're not. Yeah. There's one or the other. You can't like sort of dabble in it and be 100%. Like, oh, well, because I didn't XYZ. It's like, well, no, that's, or unless, I will say this, like too, not that I would personally do this, but I know people have, their relationships look different. Maybe if you have established that boundary before that you think, okay, like intercourse is the only thing of cheating. Right. And then things outside of that, you're both fine with it. I guess in that relationship, it's not cheating.
Yeah, and that's a different ballgame.
But I could never do that. But
100%. My friend is like, you were telling each other you loved each other.
That's crazy.
That's not just like, you're in a bad place at a bad time.
That's even more hurtful, I think, to be honest, than physical stuff. Like
I agree.
Yeah, to say I love you.
I'd rather if you just like, I don't know, bang somebody and
say, don't say it. I can see it in your eyes. I was like, oh no, we're gonna have to edit out whatever comes out of her mouth.
No, but I mean, I don't think we need to edit it. That's the thing.
No. All right, we'll keep that in.
If you're gonna,
that wasn't as bad as what I've heard you say. There's been other things we've had to edit out that were true. That wasn't too bad. Okay,
our editing team has to work very hard for my spurts, but I mean, like, bang somebody and get it over with. Like, I think emotional affair, people don't realize how, are we still laughing at the bang, get it over with? Mm-hmm. But people don't realize the emotional, like, turmoil that even emotional affairs can do, right? Like, I think we need to, like, stop being like, oh, well, if they didn't actually
because
have sex.
You know why, too? I think it's because most of the time, especially men, we love men, so this is not a knock, but I do think men could even be honest about themselves. Men can barely handle one relationship, let alone multiple. Yeah. So if a man is having an emotional affair, he's neglecting you emotionally. 100%. That's why it hurts so much, because the attention and the care and the intention that you're lacking in your relationship, and you're feeling it and you're being hurt by it, then when you discover like, oh, I didn't have that because he was giving that to someone else, that is actually what's so hurtful.
100%. And like, divorce is a hard thing. Yeah. And you're continually dealing with it. We just had this conversation off camera. Like, people often will be like, oh, like, how did you deal with it? How did you get through your divorce? How did you, did you? Keyword, did you. I'm like, there is no did you. There is still I am doing. Like, just because it's been years, you are always going to deal with that person forever through adulthood, through parenthood, through marriages, when your kids start getting married, through grandbabies, through, it is a forever long journey. Yeah. It is not like, oh, because you got divorced 10 years ago, how did you get through it? No, I am still I am still trying to get through this.
Well, and that's where, like, if you marry the wrong person, you're dealing with controlling, manipulative, mean, selfish person that you married, who was like that when you married them, so you never should have married them. Right. They're like that to you in your marriage. They're like that through your divorce. Then even if they've moved on or you've moved on, they're still like that because they are who they are. Yeah. So they are dealing with you in co-parenting, or as an ex-spouse, being manipulative, being selfish, being mean, being vindictive, being whatever. So it's like, that's I guess the message we're trying to get is like, be so careful who you like make a decision to commit your life to, because even if you do end up getting divorced and you can remarry, like you've remarried, you've moved on, but it doesn't mean you don't deal with your ex. And it's like, if they have these character flaws or these qualities that are so destructive, they'll be destructive in your marriage, through your divorce, as an ex, like you said, as a co-grandparent. I'm
not ready for that.
Heaven forbid you guys end up in the same old age home. He's going to be on his wheelchair, just like trying to stick one to you. Like, honestly, it's just, that's the way it is. Like,
because a majority of people don't civilly divorce.
Right.
Like,
or you wouldn't be getting divorced. It's a minority of people.
Happens when you're going on after a divorce and all going to sit together at games and like be one big happy family. Right. Like, it depends on why you got divorced. It depends what happened, how you move forward, right? And so it's like, I want to spare any young person, like, choose wisely. Like, bring them around your friends, bring them around your family. Yeah. And who are your friends and family? Like, can you trust them to tell you the truth? Yeah. And how do you keep your heart soft? Yeah. To be open to listen, even if you're like, in love with this person. Yeah. Like, how does that?
Well, I remember too, like, this is when I was younger. I was probably like, 19 or something. I dated this one guy. It's so funny because I didn't even really like him. It was like a guy that everybody, like all the girls liked him and like wanted him. And I was kind of like, I don't see it. Like, he's like a total bad boy. And you know me, that's not me. I actually love like a nerd. Like, give me like a nerdy, like, oh, I just love that. I just like, that's like. I love
the bad boy.
Like, and I was never that girl. I never liked the bad boy.
I did.
So there was this like bad boy and he was kind of like, I kept asking me out and I was like, I don't know. And then all my friends were like, oh, you're so lucky. Oh, what are you, crazy? You have to see it, etc. So I went on some dates with him and he was just so pressury and stuff. Like I felt like I was trying to force myself to really like him. Yeah. And so we were in a relationship for such a small time, but my parents did not like him at all. Right. And they knew he was like bad news. And it was literally like a couple months, I think we dated, and then the relationship ended. And I remember honestly being like almost embarrassed after. And I wrote a letter to my mom. I don't know if she sort of remembers it. And I was like, if I ever date somebody like him again, put his name, I give you full permission to
lock
tell
me in my bedroom.
Totally, and like be like, run for the hills, and I promise I will listen. And I like signed it and gave it to her,
that's some
like kind of like as a joke, because that very thing. Like I wanted to be like, I knew he wasn't good for me. My parents didn't like him, but like in the future, it's like I want to save myself the grief of going through a breakup and whatever, and just like if people I love and trust are like, oh no, it's just like. Be humble enough to go, they love me. Yeah. Even if I'm a little blinded, why? Like, why would they be saying, and not that you always have to listen, because I know also stories where people didn't like the person and then they get married and it was good. And so I'm not always saying that, but if your parents don't like the person you're dating and you have a good relationship with your parents or a friend, at least sit and open-mindedly think, why?
Yeah.
And if you find there's a reason like, oh, they're jealous or something or threatened or okay, fine. Maybe you can dismiss it. But probably 9 times out of 10, you're going to see those same red flags that they see. And maybe you can kind of stop yourself before you get into an unhealthy relationship.
100%. And I think that would even be like, even outside of the church world, it's like, do you align in certain areas? Like, do you align politically? Do you align? Because all of these things are major things down the line when you get married. You might not think they're major when you're 18 years old.
Yes.
You're like, I don't care, whatever. Vote for whoever, whatever. Like, but these things do come into play. Yeah. If you don't align on certain things, I don't know. It's a rough world out there.
And just slow down. Yeah. Like dating is such a beautiful thing because you can just take your time and really get to know somebody. You don't need to rush into marriage. I think that would be my biggest message to all young people. Like, I know when you're young, you just want to start your life. I remember feeling like that. I wanted to have my own house and I wanted to be married. And you want that, but that's going to come soon enough. Right. And the largest part of your life is going to be lived in adulthood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't rush that
it.
time before it. And just like, I was just having this conversation with my daughter the other day, because she's very much like, she loves like kids, and she can't wait to be a mom, and when she wants to get married. And I was just saying to her, I'm like, honey, like you're going to be married with the responsibilities of a married person for the bulk of your life.
Yeah.
Right now, just
enjoy
do these
it.
things she wants. These things I've heard her talk about, places she wants to travel,
Yeah.
like different programs she wants to do for school. Do all of that first.
Yeah.
And don't be so focused on the next phase of life, like getting married. That's going to come.
Yeah.
You're going to get married one day, of course. But do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Take your time. Get to know people.
Yeah.
Like, really know somebody. Anybody that's getting married in less than a year of dating, I think that's bonkers. And I think a year is not even nearly enough, but like I'll give you that. Right?
Yeah.
Cause I'm saying that more because, again, the church world, a year is like a long time of dating. It's really not, because this is your whole life. This is the person that's going to be the father or the mother of your children. Yeah. Like, it's such a huge decision to get married. It's so huge. Yeah. And I just don't know if we prep young people enough for the seriousness of it and the lifelong consequence of that. Whoever you marry, whether you stay married or you get divorced, they're still in your life forever.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you got to let that sink in.
Especially if you have kids. Like, if you don't have kids.
Right, you're right. That's different.
Different story. Yeah. But if you go on to have kids with this person, they are in your life. Like, there is no getting out. Like, that's what I'm like, when people get divorced and they're like, I just don't have to deal with them anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, wrong. Like, this is it for a while. So it's prepping them. So I love that you said that to your daughter, to be like, no, like, live your life. Mm-hmm. And again, it does work sometimes.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's so true. There are cases, I can't even think right off the top of my head. There's a few people married out of high school. It was the right thing for them. So that's it too. I think also you have to just like know yourself. You should even like pray and just be asking. I was gonna say,
your relationship with God.
Yeah, totally. But also with that, be so careful, because I do think there is that line where when people are like, oh, God told me to marry this person, or I'm just like, okay, just Or worse is if another person says to you, God told me to marry you, I'm gonna marry you. It's just like, that's a red flag right there.
Well, also that whole like, oh, like, you're my soulmate or whatever. I don't believe that. I believe that. Yeah, I don't believe that God has, this is just me. Like, again, we're not going to get into no theological like debate online, guys.
Go for it. Go.
But like, for me, believe that there's not just one person out there for you.
Right.
I believe that like you can make it work with anybody as long as you're like kind of under the will of God. Yep. That it can, like, if you have two willing parties, you know what I'm saying? Like, it can work. But I don't believe like, oh, this one person is for me.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Like, you could have married 5 other people and could have made it work.
Probably should have.
Probably, right. I mean, here we sit. You know, it's funny. And I fully believe that. And I think that. And then people are often like, oh man, like, do you regret it? Or have you done something different? I'm like, I can't answer that when I have kids, because I wouldn't change that. Yeah. Like, I would not change having my kids. I would go through all the heartbreak, all the turmoil over and over, because my kids are my kids, and I would never, I can't picture my life without them. Yeah. But like, what does that look like? Like, how do we help kids and young people to be like, but I don't even want to get to that point. Yeah. But it's like, don't throw it all away, or don't like rush into things and miss a beautiful season just because like you're rushing the process to get to the destination. Like, we want to skip the journey. Yeah. Like, especially me, because I hate planes. I just want to like drug me, wake me up on an island and like put a pina colada in my hand, legitimately. I want to rush every process. That's just who I am. Mm-hmm. But like, the journey is the most beautiful things. Yeah. When you're
And I think it's okay if you have this long journey with somebody. You date for a year or 2 years. 5 years. And if there comes a time where you're like, in your gut, you're just like, this doesn't feel right, or something feels off, it is okay to walk away. You don't have to think, but I've invested all this time, or it doesn't.
I don't even care if you're engaged.
No, total 100%. Like, if you're at the altar, if you have not said I do, if you don't feel right about it and you know this is wrong, don't get married, because it's going to just get worse. Marriage fixes nothing. Yeah. Marriage puts a magnifying glass on the problem. Yeah. It fixes nothing. It actually gets worse.
All the things that you get annoyed at in dating only magnify in marriage. Yeah. because like that is the other thing is that like God will be with you through everything. So God's with you through the journey of dating. And so it's like, bring him into that as well.
Yeah.
Like bring God into it to be like, but yeah, without being cuckoo and being like, oh, well, this person led me to be your wife or whatever. Like, does that happen? Yes. Do I think it's more rare? Yes.
What we're saying is we are pro-marriage.
Yeah.
But what we're really pro is like dating the right way.
Yes.
First.
Yes.
Like date, get to know each other.
Yeah.
Seek wise counsel, like you said, from like friends, family, whoever. Be humble and open to saying, I think this is the greatest person I've ever met. But everybody felt that way about the person they're divorced from. Yeah. Keep that in mind, right?
Yeah.
So just be humble and be okay to say like, hey, tell me if you see some red flags. Hopefully everybody in your life is like, we love him or her. They're amazing. Yeah. We're so happy for you. But if they don't be offended. If you see a friend who's in an unhealthy relationship, speak up. If you're in a relationship and a friend who you love says something to you, be humble and listen. Yeah. Like this is your whole life. Yeah. It will affect your whole life.
Making the right decisions, like one day at a time, one step at a time. And like, because you don't want to be sitting here.
No, you don't. Yeah. Because have we found the sunny side? Have we been able to make a beautiful life? Yes. But is it so awful and horrible? It is. It really is. That's the thing, right? And you can,
and life can be both. Life can be awful and brutal. Yeah. And have the sunny side. Like the two emotions can coexist. Yeah. And I think that's why we named it the Sunny Side Up, to be like, we can be going through hell and back, but still find the sunny side. Yeah. And so it's like, even if you find yourself in this situation, what are you doing to try and look for the silver lining? What are you doing to try and find that sunny side? Yeah. Because it is there. The two can coexist, but don't put yourself in the position where like you do end up here. Because as you and I both know, we're still dealing with exes on the other side and still dealing with like the fallout of marriages that didn't last. And so it's like, how do you move forward?
Yeah, totally.
So, oh man.
Yeah, I know. I feel like we kind of went all over, but we came back. But yeah, I guess like in the end, we are pro-marriage. Yeah. We love marriage. We think it's beautiful, healthy form. It's amazing. But just be so careful how you get there. And don't rush to get there. Just take your time. And if you are a parent of teens like us, or have teens in your life, have those hard conversations with them. Don't be afraid or feel like I shouldn't say it. Maybe nobody else is. Yeah. Right? So.
And again, we don't have all the answers.
No, we don't.
We just have teenagers. Like we're just in that stage. And but I think the biggest thing is like have the conversation.
Yeah. Have the hard conversations. Have them now, even if you're like, oh, my kids aren't dating yet. Perfect. Yeah. That's actually the perfect time to start having these conversations about what a healthy person looks like, what an unhealthy person looks like, what you would do if you found yourself in an unhealthy relationship. Yeah. All those things. So
that's true. I love these conversations. I know. I think they're fun.
Yeah. And let us know what else you guys want to chat about. We love the DMs. Yes. And the things that you guys talk about.
Yeah. Too. Everything, every like tidbit of information, feedback, positivity. Yeah. We love it. We're here for it. So thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.